Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to be going off of the newest comic book numbers for comics that have been shipped to shops. This is going to be going off of Comichron.com, which is by far the leading source for this sort of information, so I will include a link to it in the description box. So in many ways this is a continuation, or a part 2 you could say, of a previous video I did where I talked about comics in crisis. And in that video I went over the December 2018 numbers for books that were shipped to comic book shops, and those numbers were really grim, and the numbers for January 2019 are just as grim, if not more so. But the reason I bring this up primarily is because some of the people that commented on my last video said that, well, the numbers for December weren't correct, they were a little too low, they didn't cover all of the books that were shipped, some were shipped late and were shipped in January. Well, we got the numbers from January of 2019 and they are bad. Like really, really, really bad. I don't understand how the people in the industry can act like this isn't happening. It blows my mind. So, assuming some of the shipped books from December actually shipped in January, that makes this even more pitiful. So, I kind of think they were just making excuses. I think this is the actual January numbers. My previous video was the actual December numbers. They are what they are. And the crazy thing about this too, as low as these are just the numbers that were shipped, okay? So they're higher than the number that were actually sold to customers. Not every book in a shop sells. It almost never happens. So some of these, of course, didn't sell. They're still sitting on the shelf. So, like I said, the most recent numbers we have are from January 2019. So we'll go ahead and go through those a little bit. The first one I actually did a review of, so if I remember all my links, I'll put a link to that in the description box too. It was a really good issue. I mean, it's a Batman title. Batman Who Laughs, number 2. Okay, it shipped 116,000 units. That's the top selling book for the country, and it ships just a little bit over 100,000. And that's a big drop. I believe the first issue shipped well over 200,000, so that's about probably 50%, maybe 40% decline. The second book, and this is another thing, 3 of the top 5 are number 1s. So the second book is Captain Marvel number 1. Of course, they've been hyping the crap out of Captain Marvel. It's got a movie coming out and it's a number 1 title. So you would think it would sell well, and it sold as well as any of these do, and it got just over 100K. Again, those are numbers shipped, so who knows how many of those will actually be purchased by real living customers. I don't doubt most of those Batman Who Laughs sold. I would definitely have bought a physical copy if I could have. I reviewed a digital copy and it was great, but Captain Marvel, I'm not so sure. In any case, it did ship enough to be the second highest. Let's see, Guardians of the Galaxy apparently has a number 1. I don't know if they rebooted that or not. If someone is a Marvel fan watching, let me know down below why we're on Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 again. But being a number 1, it got over 100,000, just barely, so that's the third selling book. We also have our final number 1 title is Conan the Barbarian. So Conan got literally 100,000 and put him in the 4th spot. So this actually might be a tiny bit better than December. I think we only had 3 books over 100K, although there were probably less number 1 titles. So Spider-Man, our voice, Amazing Spider-Man number 14 didn't break 100,000. He's at number 5. So 91,000 for Amazing Spider-Man. That's pretty bad, Marvel. You need to take a look at that. Oh wait, DC did even worse with Batman. How in the world is Batman selling? Look, it dropped. Wow, it dropped almost 10% between issue 62 and 63. I mean, I'm not a Tom King hater, but honestly, if they keep him on to issue 100 like they're planning, what is going to happen? I mean, another 37 issues, there won't be any readers left. I mean, there won't be any readers left in another 15 issues at this rate. So number 8 and number 9 are Heroes in Crisis, respectively, which I'm a little surprised didn't break 100,000. These numbers are just pitiful. I mean, I actually saw a lot of people talking about Heroes in Crisis. Man, that's bad. So number 10 is a Spider-Man book with 78,000. Young Justice, number 1. So we got, finally, DC's golden boy, Brian Michael Bendis, the hero, the man who's going to save comics. We finally got to him at number 11. And it's not even a Superman title. Well, we got a ways to go before we get to Brian Michael Bendis' Superman abomination. But he does have one in the top 20, and it's his Young Justice #1, which 73,000, units were shipped of. We got Fantastic Four #6, which is actually holding on fairly well. I think that just shows the strength of the Fantastic Four as characters. It's got 67,000 units. Another Amazing Spider-Man. This one's down to 66,000, so let's see. For some reason, issue 14 sold a lot better than issue 13, which did a measly 66,000. Then we have a couple Justice League books. Which does okay, around 60K. And then we're starting to just get into kind of what you'd expect. Venom, Wolverine, Green Lantern, Detective Comics. But these are all right around 50,000. And then we get down to the 25th best-selling comic book, and we have Brian Michael Bendis' Superman, which I just cannot express enough how much I wish he were not writing that book. I can think of 10 writers that literally work at DC right now that could do a better job. I'd rather have Tom King write Superman, no doubt. I mean, it sucks. I cannot wait until Bendis is off of Superman. So 25, we're up to 26. So as bad as Bendis is, he's actually outselling the Avengers, which are in 26th place, which just shows what a freaking disaster Marvel is. We got a Venom book at 27, Justice League Annual #1. I'm a little disappointed to not see this as higher up. I actually really want to get my hands on this, but I mean, I wasn't able to buy it, so that's part of the reason these numbers are so low. It's like, where's the accessibility? Like, if I could, go to the store and buy this, I would have, but sadly I couldn't, and it sits at 47,000. I am going to buy that, though, when I get a chance. I'm going to find it in a back issue or whatever. That Justice League Annual #1, I would definitely recommend it. It looked pretty cool. So Uncanny X-Men down at 46,000. Oh my goodness. Wow, Walking Dead. Walking Dead's usually in the top 10. This is strange to see it down here. I mean, it's issue 187, but still. A couple Action Comics titles. Thor. Oh man, Shazam is down. So Shazam was actually the 10th best-selling book in December, and it is now the 34th best-selling book. That's a big drop. Well, it lost about a third. Yeah, it went from 60-some thousand to 40-some thousand. So I guess that's quite a drop. About a quarter to a third. So then a couple X-Men books. Wow, X-Men Annual only did 41,000. Wow, Star Wars is down in the 40,000. This is bad. If I were Marvel, I would really be shaking in my boots. Like, I would be thinking about canceling a lot of titles. Wonder Woman down around 36,000. She could, this seems to bounce between 30 and 50K, so that's not too surprising, but that's, I'd love to see Wonder Woman selling better than that. Catwoman down at 35,000. We got the Flash Annual down at 34K, so, it's pretty pitiful. I'll just go ahead and scroll down a bit. So the 100th, by the time you get to the 100th best-selling book, you're down at 22,000 units. So that's Black Panther #8, and that sold 22,670. So we'll jump down a little more. Wow, Deathstroke at 103rd with 21,000. Deathstroke's actually one of DC's stronger titles, but yeah, issue 39, it might just be running out. So let's see, we'll go down to a number 150. Unnatural. Oh yeah, I know what that is. That's a Image comic. So by the time you're at 150, it's 13,000. So, it's just getting worse and worse. So let's see. If we jump down to number 200, Scarlet from DC. What in the heck? Scarlet is a DC comic. I don't know what it is, but it's on issue 5, and it sold 9,000 units. So I'm not going to scroll any further down. It's just getting a little too depressing. But, whenever I make a video like this, I get a lot of pushback. Not so much in my comments, I'll get a couple that'll disagree, but usually on social media, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, a lot of people will say, the industry is fine, it's great. My last video, someone said, oh, you're Chicken Little, you're being Chicken Little and saying the sky is falling. It's not the sky is falling, it's like the sky is fallen, and people are clueless to it. When you don't even have 5 books that sell over 100,000, you don't even have 1 book that shipped over 200,000, your #1 book is 116,000. Like, how is the industry so blind to this? It blows my mind. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think down below, and if you have something more positive to add, because I'm a little discouraged, to be honest. I don't see the comic book print industry really lasting another 5 years without major bailouts from, Daddy Warbucks over at Disney and Warner Brothers, respectively, which may be what happens. Maybe that's what'll keep the industry limping along, if nothing else, so these big companies can use them for movies. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Be sure to check me out on Patreon. I have exclusive content over there. But yeah, be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell for notifications. And as always, thank you for watching and being a part of DC Fans United.
End of line.